About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
And welcome to the AAT Birds postgame. We're going live. It's the first time we're going live and sometime actual live, not a pre-recorded, then going live. So you get us in the real time here. Going to break down the Eagles edging the Packers 10-7, a defensive battle of yesteryear. But the Eagles go ahead and get the victory, up 7-2 now. They are, and the Packers drop to 5-3-1. A lot to talk about here. Of course, the offensive struggles, the defense. You got to definitely give them their flowers. So a lot to discuss. Some new additions and how they played. So a lot there. But Matt, how'd you take in the game here? I know we were kind of on edge at the end of the game, which we'll get to. But
it was a weird game. Really weird game. I don't think anybody expected a final score of 10-7 with these two teams.
No.
They both have really good defenses, but I didn't think they were that good. So definitely interesting game. A lot of weird stuff happening. It seems like the offense took a step back, and we can get into that. I expected a little bit better coming out of the bye. With Sirianni. Sirianni typically has a pretty good handle on things coming out of the bye, so it was a little disappointing to see us take a step back after that Giants game. But like you said, defense looked awesome. Some of these acquisitions that we made paying dividends, especially on the front seven there. Although we did have some struggles on offense, there was a lot to be positive about as well.
No, I think too, when you look at the first drive of the game for the Eagles, methodically getting down the field there. And then, of course, unfortunately, had that fumble, which, kind of sucked because you're in field goal range there and working your way, got the first down, and then, unfortunately, have the fumble there. And it kind of like everything went stagnant after that. And then you come out of halftime and you work your way down the field. The pass to Calcaterra being high kind of sucked a little bit because that could have been huge play, but you get the field goal there. But the defense was stellar. They kept them in the game. It gave you a little bit of the vibes of the Brazil game, week one. Now I know there was more scoring in that, but the defense held their own there in that game to keep the offense, keeping the team in the game to be able to strike. And the Eagles did strike with a play to Saquon Barkley where it goes up the sideline. And then you had the 36-yard touchdown pass to Devontae and then made it 10-0.
What an awesome right before that Saquon swing pass, I was talking about how I saw AJ Brown without his mouth guard for the first time, and I think since he's been here, and I was like, dude, like he doesn't even anticipate getting the ball. He doesn't anticipate getting hit. Doesn't anticipate hitting anybody. And then like right after that, he sets up like the lead block for that big gain to Saquon. I counted, by the way, on that was a 46-yard gain, I believe. And he picked up 35 yards after AJ started blocking. Like AJ helped him get an additional 35 yards.
Another thing too is I would really like to see them utilize Saquon, out in the screen game. And, we've probably been talking about the Eagles running backs and screen for so long, but I'd like to see Saquon, in the open field because, he still has that burst. And I thought ran the ball pretty well. There was a couple plays where he had loss of yards. So again, he didn't have any huge breaking runs. He had one on the first drive, he had that big run, then he took himself out. But again, we don't know how healthy he is. I know he had a groin thing, so it does take a little bit of time. But he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he seemed fine. There were a couple times where I was like, did he hurt it again? But then, I think he's just taking his time getting up. He's taking some licks. But I mean, a lot of people have said Saquon doesn't look the same. I don't agree. I think he has the same burst, and he's making the most out of nothing.
Yeah.
But like I think the field conditions, they were not necessarily prepared for that last night. I heard the announcer saying that that's a common complaint in Lambeau. And I know in the beginning of the game, like Mailata slipped on a pool and wound up essentially killing Saquon. Saquon slipped on a couple. There was one
So
I think it was a screen pass that he actually slipped on. Um, so he's getting hit behind the line at a higher rate than he has since he was with the Giants. So,
and again, also you have to realize too, Lane was out a big chunk of that game as well.
yeah, I'm probably gonna get shit for saying this, but like I love Lane and he's amazing, but I have to also give Fred his flowers and say that I didn't see a noticeable like downgrade when he was out. Now that's not to say that we wouldn't have been better with Lane in the game, but I think Fred filled in really nicely, and I feel more confident this year and last year, I guess you could say, but I feel more confident with him at tackle. So I don't necessarily want to use that as an excuse, but I again, what I'm seeing from this offense is that they're again predictable. Like we were talking about that with the Vikings before the Vikings game, like they're super predictable. They were trying their play action, and the linebackers didn't even flinch. Like there is something on film that the Packers saw that is some sort of tell on whether it's going to be a run, whether it's going to be play action. I'm interested to see what that is. They're going to need to figure that out because their linebackers were teeing off in the run game and not flinching in play action. So there's something there. There's some sort of predictability or some sort of tell there that I think we need to, and by we I mean the Eagles need to figure out.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be ironed out because you can't have that going into this.
I mean, every time Latu's on the field, they're running the ball.
Yeah, there's
he was on for 5 snaps, all 5 were runs.
The other thing too about it was like when Lane goes out, you don't have that jumbo package, and then you're throwing in,
Well, you do, but it's with Pryor. Yeah.
I'm not even talking about that, but you saw more of Granson and Calcaterra in there who can't block. Like,
can we stop the 13 personnel? Like, what are we doing?
I saw him come in the game. I said, "What are we doing? Like, why do we even have these guys on the field?
You can't run 13 personnel with 2 220-pound tight ends. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'd rather have AJ Dillon out there blocking than Granson. I'm not even shitting you. I would rather run a pony formation and have Shipley as a lead blocker than Granson trying to block a defensive end. Like, I'm sorry. It's just they are special teams players that can go out for a route. They are nothing more.
So the one thing too I saw was the one formation where they had Bigsby and then they had Saquon line up as fullback and they gave Saquon the ball. Like, you could see the Packers jumping up and down, pointing Saquon's right there, and just like he got the ball and they got the first. The other thing I really like, and I wish they would do more off of it, is when they do the read option and you have Goddard comes in front of Hurts there and runs that little out route and
little leak route,
and then you can just get it to him. They did it a couple times.
They spammed it.
Yeah. I would like to see something else off of that.
Like what?
Try something, because my thing about it is teams starting to see it now, last couple of weeks. So you're going to have teams jumping.
Yeah.
In terms of the situation, whether
my
it's
brain just did.
What?
This is going to sound so crazy, but I'm going to put on my little like play caller, play design hat. You do that. They ran that off of a fake pitch. They faked the pitch to Saquon left, and then they rolled right and got Goddard on that little leak route. What if they faked the pitch, rolled out to Goddard to throw that pass,
deep,
and did a little shovel pass on a counter
Ooh.
motion, to Saquon coming back almost like an option, like a speed option.
Or I
You
like
see what
that.
I'm saying?
Or what you could also do too is if you have a Bigsby and Saquon next to each other, you fake the pitch to Bigsby, and then that's where Saquon can be right there, pretends to go
Yeah.
to block, and you just do a shovel. Like there's
Yeah.
things they can work off of that. So I'm
But it's
interested to see if they do
low.
that. But
It's also
we'll see.
low, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
I
we'll see with that.
we need to stop. We need to stop the 13 personnel. Like it's a facade at this point. It doesn't work. You don't have the personnel to do it. We haven't had the personnel to do it since like 2017. So it's just like don't try it. Don't do it. I would if I could make a change for this offense, I would substitute that 13 personnel and put in more empty. Because there's so much you can do off of empty. You set up an empty, you motion the back into the backfield, you can manipulate and spread out the defense. And you saw it on that 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 where unfortunately Hurts fumbled the ball. It was a great play call. They went to empty and they ran a QB power to the right. And picked up a nice gain. I mean, they picked up 8-9 yards, and then unfortunately, who was it? Quay Walker made a really nice defensive play. But I mean, they more of that, man. More like spread these guys out. We have too much speed. We have too much physicality in the offense.
I would say like I didn't think Toth had the greatest of games. And again, he's
yeah. I also didn't.
He is what he is.
I also didn't sit there and go, man, this guy sucks.
No,
I didn't.
He had a couple miss assignments. It looked like, but again, you're going to get that. I do like. I would like to see if potentially Lampkin gets activated and use him as like a jumbo fullback and a couple different things that they could do, like some different things. I'd like to see off of that,
like a black Dan Klecko.
Like, but I would also like to see when you're talking about Latu, when he comes in the game just to run, why not do something off of, a play action with him then going in the flat and trying to hit him and, get some yards, like different things like that to put the defense on their heels, thinking to myself, well, he could run. And then to give that type of look to the defense to make them kind of uneasy.
I would hope as a professional offensive coordinator that there's going to be some sort of sequencing off of that.
Yeah.
And like he's got the receiving chops. He was a heck of a tight end at Alabama. They obviously were very excited about Van Sumeren. It's a shame that he got injured on the very first play of this season. But like that skill set is very similar. He's not as fast as Latu's not as fast as Van Sumeren, but like skill set's there, the size is there. They obviously had some sort of package that they were excited about. I'd like to see them, to your point, work off of that and do something cool.
Yeah. Now I want to get to the highlight of the game in terms of the defense. Basically, the defense was stellar. Jaelan Phillips, his debut, 6 tackles, forced fumble, tackle for loss, fumble recovery. He had 8 pressures, a 19% pressure rate. He was fantastic. He was everything that you could ask for. Nolan didn't get as many snaps. Again, he's coming back, so you're gonna, working his way back in there, which is fine.
But what he did play, I noticed him. Yeah. I mean, he had one play. I don't know if you saw the play where
Jenkins surely notices him when he plays because he seems to get massive injuries.
I tweeted it last night. Elton Jenkins must absolutely hate seeing Nolan Smith because the last 2 times he's played, he's missed the rest of the season. Like they just put him on IR. I don't know if you saw that. Jenkins is on IR. So, but there was a play. It might have been that play actually that he got hurt, where they pulled the opposite side guard and tackle, I guess it was, and they were coming at Nolan, and he just submarined the 2 offensive linemen and still almost made the tackle.
Yeah,
he's just such a pain in the ass. It was so good. It was so refreshing to see the motor that him and Jalix and Phillips play with, like that's got to be so annoying as an offensive line.
Yeah, because when you look at like the edge rotation that Vic employed here was Jaelan played the most snaps. Jaelan Phillips played the most snaps. You had Jalix Hunt, and then you had Nolan Smith.
Yep.
And then BG had about, I think it was like 15 8
snaps, I think it was.
And then you had Jahad Campbell play a handful of edge snaps. You saw him on the edge a few times as well.
Which we gotta stop. We gotta stop.
Yeah, to me, I think the best thing would be like a pass rushing down. I'd love to friend blitz up the middle. Like there's different things I'd like to see, but
or like stunt him, loop him. You know,
the one thing I want to say here is the last couple of weeks, going all the way back to the first Giants game, when they looked on that Thursday night, the defense was pushed around, out physical, outmatched. We even said it, like, what's going on? Like, what? Like, there's no fight. Like, it just looked like they were just slapped around. And then insert Nakobe Dean, and this defense has taken a whole different type of approach and mentality when Nakobe is in there. It's just like I understand Zach Bond is probably the best player in that second level. With what he's been doing, he is such a good linebacker. He's probably he's the best linebacker. But in terms of leader, I think Nakobe is the leader on that field.
1,000%.
And
do they re-sign him?
You have to. I'm sorry, but you have to. And I know it put you in a difficult position with Jahad and what you do and all that. But listen, he's a young player. You maneuver him around, use him as a chess piece, and you see what's going to be best and what's going to work the best for your defense. But the defense as a whole, it just looks, so. And I'm going to say this right now. And I said it to somebody, and he's like, "Oh, that's a hell of a statement." Moro Jomo is playing at a better level than Milton Williams played at last year, and I'm gonna ride that until the end of the season. But I think Moro Jomo is opening eyes, and I think he's gonna keep, opening eyes on what he's doing on the field, and he's causing pressure and what he's doing there, and
that's an interesting
defense as a whole, like Adoree Jackson's been getting a ton of flack. We've said it multiple times. I didn't think he had a terrible game. I thought he played decently well. Now, I know as everyone's watching this, the Jair Alexander news, he's going to be stepping away from football. He did not travel with the team, which was kind of odd. Coach's decision / knee. So there's something going on there with the physical aspect and mental aspect. So hopefully gets that right, and he figures out, what's going to be best for him, whether it's stepping away from the game and focusing somewhere else or whatever it may be. We hope, everything goes well for him. But then, with him, they're going to probably put him on the reserve retired list, which will open up a spot for Jacorian Bennett to be back.
So can they, if he's not officially retired? That's my question. So there's a couple options here. He hasn't officially retired.
I guess they could always put him on IR with the knee. If his knee is really bothering and stuff.
No, that's a good point. The other thing they could do is go to the commissioner and ask for an exemption and put him on the commissioner's exemption list, or NFI, or there's a couple different options. I'm really interested to see how they handle this, because
they have until Wednesday.
If he's stepping away, you can't take up a spot, and they have until tomorrow to activate Bennett. And if they're going to clear a spot, that makes the most sense.
I'm guessing you're going to want to do that because
you have to now.
I know Mac McWilliams really hasn't played, but if there's injuries, you don't want to have to, spring him into action. I know you got Michael Carter who can play the slot, can play some safety. There's some, options along the lines of him, the optionality, but you want another veteran in there, and Bennett, just in case, because I'm sorry, but I don't think I really want to see Ringo out there. He's great on special teams of what he does, but
we also traded for Bennett, and we haven't seen him.
Yeah. I would like to see.
I'd like to see what he has.
We haven't seen him since the Rams game, and that was what, week 3?
Yeah, and he played, and I thought he played really well. Like he gave up some completions in a prevent defense, but come on, man. He's competitive, he's feisty, He was brand new at that point. I'd like to see him.
I just think with this defense and the depth aspect, especially with the Alexander news, I believe get Bennett back so you have the depth, because injuries can happen. It's a long season and there isn't much you can do if you get injuries. You can just sign guys off the street or practice squad and stuff like that. So you don't have a lot of options when it comes to that.
Samuel Jr.
Well,
Asante Samuel Jr. he just signed with the Steelers practice squad, but I mean, if they really want another corner on their 53 and think he's healthy, I doubt they'll do it. But it's it's an option. Here's my other question, real quick, before we move off of Jair. So, in order to facilitate a trade, you have to put him through a physical, right?
Yeah.
So, did they just not do a physical? Did they not do a physical, enough of a physical? Did they?
That's interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because is the trade going to get voided? There's a whole bunch of different questions that I guess have to be answered.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Looking at special teams real quick, Braden Mann had a couple struggles. I thought it was some good and some bad.
He settled in.
Yeah.
It's first two punts. I think the first one was a 31-yard punt, but I mean, a long of 66. He settled in. He looked a lot better in the second half, specifically.
I thought the return game, to me, I think the last couple of weeks has improved with Gibson. He had a 15-yard average on his punt returns, which is great to see.
That one he had, that 18-yarder where he fought through 6 people, that was.
I was just hoping he didn't fumble. Yeah. I know he had fumble things. So every time he gets into a crowd, that's the only thing I just don't fumble.
He took one on the sideline and went off his chest, and he almost dropped it.
I think what's hilarious is the people that were complaining when they tapped it and he picked it up to try to run it, because
nothing bad can happen there.
Nothing bad can happen because it's either I know he got tackled at the 1-yard line, but it would have been at where the guy tapped it to, which was the 4 or 5. So he wasn't losing any yards. He could only essentially gain yards.
Well, and even if he fumbles it, it stays.
It doesn't matter because he was touched by the opponent. So that's it's a win-win thing because you never know what can happen.
It's a heads-up play, and that's a really good point. And for those who are watching that maybe don't know that rule, if the other team is punting it, and that's why you always see players when, let's say they punt it and it has some backspin on it and it kind of takes a rest right there. Let's call it the 2-yard line, and the other team touches it. They're taught to pick it up, because if they touch it and pick it up, the play is dead. The other team can't touch the ball. But if you touch it and walk away, the other team, the receiving team, can grab that ball and advance the ball. They can fumble it. They can run backwards. They can whatever. And the ball's going to go back wherever the ball was touched. So it's a heads up play from an experienced returner. I know a lot of people were probably freaking out when it happened, but it was a heads up play, and it was a win-win. So good call out there.
Yeah. But again, Eagles get the victory 10-7 in Lambeau. A hell of a win. So they have some pretty massive wins this year. We beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They beat the Rams. They beat the Bucs in Tampa. They beat the Packers in Lambeau. So they've got a lot of pretty quality wins, and they have a tough one.
They're the strongest strength of victory, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
0.516 or whatever.
So, this upcoming Sunday night, it's going to be a massive game against the Detroit Lions coming into town for Sunday Night Football. We'll break it down. We'll have that all for you later this week, going over the matchups, going over the injury reports, what's going all with that. We got to look and see what the Eagles do in terms of roster moves. So there's a lot that is going to come into play there. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following all of the socials there. Get the links tree. Make sure you check that out. It has everything there as well. So make sure that you're following us. We have a lot of content flowing and a lot of things going on. So definitely keep an eye out. But with that, as we always end it, Matt, with a very happy and joyful
Go
Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, For all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, aka Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.